Just to start out, in the same way that our communities elevated the work of nurses and doctors in the spring, and rightfully so, I think now is the time that we need to elevate our teachers, our school leaders, so that they get the praise that they deserve because they are in uncharted territory in new times, trying to find a way for kids to get an education they deserve in a safe way.
From a lot of those teachers and parents' perspectives, what are some of the concerns, the biggest challenges, the biggest concerns you've been hearing across the state?
So we never claimed here at the department to be an expert on this virus, but thankfully we've been able to partner with some of the leading agencies and organizations and hospitals that are experts, such as Louisiana Department of Health, Ochsner Medical, Children's Hospital, Tulane Medical, and we've worked hand in hand with them to develop a set of minimum guidelines for schools to use in order to be able to open their schools. And whenever we say open, we recognize that that could look different in different parts of the state and within different systems. And our schools are taking that information, they're building plans, and they're coming forward with a way to open their schools in a safe way, but still find a way to make sure kids get the education they deserve.
And of course, a lot of families have that choice, as you referenced, whether it be virtual, at-home learning, being on campus, a hybrid model. Not one way works best for everybody, right? So what would you tell to the parent who's still on the fence about which model to choose for their particular student?
Yeah, well, we know based on the experts on the virus here in Louisiana that our standards are on par with or better than anything across this country in terms of what we know about this virus, how we can mitigate the spread in schools, how we can find a way. But we've simultaneously asked every school system in the state to have an online option for every family that doesn't feel comfortable sending their child to a brick and mortar environment, physical school. And so our systems have adjusted, they've stepped up, and so every system in the state has that opportunity for families to choose a full virtual option if that's what they think is best for their child.
And we know access and technology have come such a long way over the past decades, but really, do you believe, sir, that still in-person learning, especially at the younger age, is still the best option when available for most young students?
Yeah, I think that we are moving to a place where virtual instruction will get better and better. But we've been teaching in many ways for a couple of thousand years the same way, with students right in front of us, with the ability to interact with them face to face. And so we will have bumps along the way as we go to virtual instruction, but it will get better as we work through the process.
Twofold question here. What are you really excited about as we embark on a new school year? There's usually a very strong, real sense of excitement. And also, maybe what's the biggest challenge in the back of your mind or at the forefront of your mind going into this very unique year?
Well, I think they're one and the same. I think the challenge that we face in terms of educating in a global health pandemic is unknown. And we want to make sure that we do that safely, but we want to make sure that we do that. You know, I have high expectations for student learning even through this. So one and the same, I think we'll see a ton of innovations in education that are a result of this. I think that our educational system will be fundamentally changed in a number of different ways in a good and positive way as a result of this. And so I think they're one and the same. The global health pandemic is a challenge, but at the same time, it's an incredible opportunity for us to find new ways to educate kids.
And we're all adjusting to this new normal. Farther down the road, what are your hopes for Louisiana students, the just state of education here in our great state as you embark on this new profession of yours, or new title at least?
Yeah, so we've made progress in education in Louisiana, but I want to add value to that. I think that we have to make sure that every child, by the time they leave third grade, are on grade level. A kid who's not on grade level by the end of third grade in reading is 2, 3, 4 times more likely to be a high school dropout. We know that 80% of people in American prisons today don't have a high school degree. And so if we can focus on early childhood education, making sure that kids are reading by the end of third grade, and then tracking on down the road, making sure that we have elevated career and technical education, vocational education for students, as well as dual enrollment and collaboration with our colleges, I think all of that will go a long way, while we also edify and give voice to the teachers that sometimes have not always been heard, because those are the individuals on the ground every day working with our kids.
And along that note, with all of our great teachers from north to south Louisiana, east to west on the state boundaries, You know how hard they're working. You know many of them well. What would you tell some of the parents out there about the work they're doing behind the scenes to get adjusted to this new normal, to be as prepared as possible for this year?
I mean, across every sector, I just think we have to give everyone patience and grace and a little bit of extra breathing room. You know, we are all working through this together as moms and dads, as workers, to try and find a way through this. And I think we just have to give each other a little room to make mistakes, and at the same time know that we will find a way to make our way through this.
Dr. Cade Brumley, thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.